Every single time you turn on the news, you're basically watching international relations play out in real time. So today, we're going to decode this whole field, what it actually is, and maybe more importantly, why it's the key to understanding, well, pretty much everything that shapes our world.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Every big headline, right? A conflict happening thousands of miles away, a new trade deal that's just been signed, a global climate summit. It all, and I mean all of it, boils down to that one single question. This is the big puzzle that the study of international relations was literally created to solve.
So what is IR, really? Well, the official definition says it's the academic field that looks at the whole spectrum of interactions on the world stage. And get this, it's not just about countries talking to each other. It's also about huge organizations like the United Nations, NGOs like the Red Cross, and yeah, even really influential people.
Okay, there's a really important idea in this quote, this concept of an anarchic international system. Now hold on, that doesn't mean total chaos with burning cars. In IR, anarchy just means there's no single world government, no ultimate boss with authority over every country. And that one simple fact, it changes everything about how nations act.
So if you strip it all down, IR is really a toolkit for figuring out the biggest questions out there. Who's really calling the shots in global decisions? What are the deep-down reasons that wars even start? And maybe the most important one of all, what does it actually take to build a peace that lasts?
All right, so to even begin to answer those huge questions, the field is broken down into a few key areas. Think of it like a map for exploring all these super complex issues.
And the study of IR covers a massive amount of ground. We're talking about everything from diplomacy and raw military power to globalization and the way money moves around the planet. We're digging into the causes of war and the nuts and bolts of peacekeeping, and even the role of international law and, believe it or not, morality. It even gets into how deep-seated things like a country's culture and its national identity can totally shape its foreign policy. It touches pretty much every part of our connected world.
So where did this field even come from? Well, its origin story is actually rooted in one of the most tragic periods in all of human history. It was born from this desperate need to stop it from ever happening again.
And this timeline just lays it all out. The formal study of IR kicks off in 1919, right in the ashes of World War I. The first big idea, known as idealism, was super hopeful. It was all about cooperation. But then, World War II happened, and after that, a much more skeptical view called realism took over, basically arguing that power and survival are the only things that countries truly care about.
You have to admit, this founding mission statement from the world's very first IR department is just so powerful. This wasn't just some abstract academic project. It was a deeply moral and political mission. The entire field was created with one very real goal: figure out why we fight so we can build a more peaceful world.
And this right here, this is the first great debate in IR. On one side, you had the idealists who argued that organizations and shared values could actually bring about peace. But on the other side, you had the realists who fired back that nope, the world is a tough, competitive place where countries will always try to get more power and protect themselves. That tension between hope and skepticism, it still defines so much of the field today.
Okay, so that's the history, that's the theory. But why should you care about any of this right now? Because these ideas aren't just stuck in old textbooks. They are playing out in every single major headline you see every single day.
So when we see an event like the invasion of Ukraine, IR gives us the lenses to analyze it. Is this a textbook case of realist power politics? And how does a conflict like that ripple out across the globe and end up affecting the price you pay for gas?
Or, when we see these territorial disputes in places like the South China Sea, IR helps us untangle that complex web of economic interests and strategic power moves. And these are not abstract issues. They have a direct impact on the global shipping lanes that deliver the phone that's probably in your pocket right now.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom and conflict. When nations actually manage to come together to tackle something like climate change, that's where IR theories of liberalism help us understand how cooperation is even possible. And those agreements, they directly shape the future of green technology and the kinds of jobs that will exist.
So here's the bottom line. The real magic of IR is that it helps us connect the dots. These events aren't just random things happening. They're all pieces of a giant, interconnected global system. And understanding that system is absolutely essential to making any sense of the world.
Now, to help us decode all these patterns, scholars develop these really powerful frameworks they call the grand theories. The best way to think of them is like different pairs of glasses. Each one lets you see the same world, but in a totally different way.
Okay, so this table simplifies some really big ideas. You've got realism from guys like Hans Morgenthau, which sees the world as this endless struggle for power. Then there's liberalism, which has roots way back with philosophers like Kant, arguing that things like democracy and trade can make the world more peaceful. And then you have this other one, constructivism, from scholars like Alexander Wendt, who say, hey, wait a minute, it's our shared ideas and our identities that really shape what countries do. And remember, these aren't just theories for a classroom. They have a direct line to the foreign policy decisions made in the real world.
So here's the main takeaway. The next time you see a breaking news alert flash on your screen about a summit, a sanction, a crisis, I want you to try and remember that it's not just a standalone story. It's a data point in the massive, complicated, and honestly fascinating equation of international relations.
And that leaves us with one final question to chew on. When you look at the world today, with all of its crazy conflicts and its moments of amazing cooperation, which one of these lenses, which pair of glasses, do you think gives us the clearest picture? Is our world ultimately all about power, about progress, or is it about the ideas we all choose to believe in?